On a Tuesday afternoon in March, a woman walked into my shop holding her phone up like a weapon. She had recorded her Toyota's dashboard on video. 3 different chimes had gone off in less than 4 minutes, and she had no idea what any of them meant. She was not panicking, not yet. But she had already been down a rabbit hole of forums and horror stories, and by the time she sat down in my waiting area, she had mentally prepared herself for a costly repair bill. I watched the video. I listened to the sounds. And within 30 seconds, I told her the truth. None of those chimes meant anything was broken. 2 were reminders. 1 was a safety alert. All 3 were her car doing exactly what it was designed to do, communicating with her in a language nobody ever taught her to understand. That is the moment that inspired this video. Because what happened to her happens to Toyota owners every single day. A chime goes off, the driver tenses up, and within minutes, they are either ignoring something important or worrying about something harmless. Both outcomes cost you. One costs you peace of mind. The other could eventually cost you the car. Toyota builds some of the most reliable vehicles on the road, and part of that reliability is an alert system engineered to give you advance warning before small issues become large ones. But here is the problem. The manual explains what the lights mean in dense technical language buried across 400 pages. It almost never explains what the sounds mean, why they happen together, or what you should actually do when you hear them. Dealerships are not much better. They either dismiss the question entirely or schedule a diagnostic appointment that costs money to answer a question that should have been free. I have been working on Toyotas for over 20 years. I have heard these chimes thousands of times. And I can tell you without hesitation that most drivers are misreading them, either dismissing chimes that matter or panicking over ones that do not. Today, I am going to fix that. We are going to go through the 5 most common and most misunderstood Toyota chimes, what they actually mean, what triggers them, what you should do when you hear them, and what happens if you keep ignoring them. By the end of this video, you will never be confused by your Toyota's sounds again. Let us start by understanding why Toyota uses sound at all, because this is the foundation everything else builds on. Your Toyota is a communication machine. It has sensors in the wheels, the engine, the exhaust, the cabin, the doors, the seat belts, the brakes, and the fuel system, all feeding information into multiple control modules simultaneously. Those modules are constantly deciding whether conditions are normal or abnormal, and when something needs your attention, they have 2 ways to reach you: visual warnings through the instrument cluster and audible alerts through the speakers or a dedicated chime buzzer. The chimes exist because visual warnings can be missed. You might be focused on traffic, glancing at a mirror, or reaching for something. A sound cuts through all of that. It demands attention in a way a light cannot. So Toyota designed a layered system where the urgency, the tone, and the number of chimes all carry meaning. A single soft chime communicates something different from a rapid series of beeps. A chime that stops after a few seconds is different from one that repeats until you respond. But here is what most owners never learn. These sounds are not random. Each one has a specific trigger, a specific cause, and a specific correct response. Once you know the pattern, the car stops feeling mysterious and starts feeling like it is actually on your side. Let us talk about the first chime, and it is probably the one you have heard most often. The first chime is the key reminder and door open alert. This is a single repeating tone that activates when your door is open, and either the key is in the ignition or the headlights are left on. On newer Toyota models with smart key systems, you will hear a variation of this sound when the door is opened while the engine is still running, or when the key fob is detected outside the vehicle after the system has been engaged. Drivers dismiss this one constantly. They assume they know what it means, and they are usually right, but not always. Here is where it gets important. In certain Toyota trim levels, particularly Camry, Corolla, and RAV4 models built after 2019, this same chime sequence is also used by the key detection system to warn you that your smart key is not inside the vehicle when you try to lock it. If you hear this chime while walking away and pressing lock, your car is telling you it cannot confirm the key fob is in a safe location. Drivers who do not know this pattern lock their cars, walk away, and discover hours later that the vehicle never actually secured because the system flagged a potential key conflict. The chime was the warning. They thought it was just the usual door sound. These are two very different situations, and the chime is identical. The difference is context when it happens, whether you are entering or exiting, and whether you hear it before or after the door closes. The correct response to this chime is never to just dismiss it. Check that the door is fully closed. Check that your key is where it belongs. If you are using a smart key, confirm the fob is inside the cabin before walking away. 30 seconds of attention prevents a locked-out scenario that could cost you a service call. The second chime is the one that confuses more Toyota owners than almost any other, and it is the one most likely to be misdiagnosed. This is a two-tone or double chime. Many people describe it as a ding-dong sound. It typically appears on the instrument cluster, sometimes with a brief symbol and sometimes with no symbol at all. Many drivers hear it without seeing a warning light and then assume it is a glitch or a non-issue. It is not a glitch. It is the pre-collision system alert or the lane departure alert, depending on your trim level and driving situation. Toyota Safety Sense has been standard on most Toyota vehicles since 2018. That package includes a forward-facing camera and radar system that constantly monitors the road ahead and your lane position. When the system detects a potential issue, whether a vehicle or obstacle ahead closing on you, or your vehicle drifting across a lane marking without a turn signal, it uses this double chime to alert you. The confusion comes from the fact that this chime is not always accompanied by a visible light flash that you catch in time. The system triggers, the sound plays, and by the time your eyes drop to the cluster, the symbol is already gone. So the driver hears a chime and sees nothing, and concludes the car is malfunctioning. What is actually happening is exactly what the engineers intended. The system caught something you were about to miss and told you. If you are hearing this chime frequently, that is data. It means your driving environment or your driving habits are regularly putting you in situations the system flags as borderline. High-speed highway driving in narrow lanes triggers it often. Fatigued driving triggers it. Driving in rain or sun glare that confuses the camera triggers it in a different way, usually as a system temporarily unavailable notification with a slightly different tone. What you should never do with this chime is disable the pre-collision system because it becomes annoying. That system has prevented crashes that drivers never knew were about to happen. If the alerts feel excessive, adjust the sensitivity in your Toyota settings menu rather than turning the system off completely. And if the chime is happening without any driving situation that explains it, it is worth a diagnostic scan because camera or radar faults can occasionally trigger phantom alerts. The third chime is the one most closely associated with urgent mechanical situations, and understanding it correctly could save your engine. This is a rapid repeating series of beeps, sometimes described as a fast clicking or stuttering tone, and it almost always appears alongside a warning light on the instrument cluster. The most common combination is this chime paired with the low oil pressure warning or the engine temperature warning. Many drivers do not realize that on certain Toyota models, especially the 4Runner, Tundra, Tacoma, and older Sequoia variants, this rapid beep sequence can also trigger from the tire pressure monitoring system when tire pressure has dropped severely and quickly, not just gradually. The critical distinction here is speed. A single chime or a slow double chime is informational. This rapid repeating chime is urgent. It is the car's equivalent of a shout. When you hear this sound, the correct response is not to finish the song playing on your radio and not to find a good place to pull over in 10 minutes. It is to reduce speed immediately and safely exit the road as soon as possible. I have seen more engine damage from this chime being ignored than from any other misunderstood alert. A driver hears the rapid beeping, assumes it is another reminder system, and keeps driving for 3 miles to a gas station. By the time they check the oil or the temperature gauge, the damage is already done. Oil pressure and engine temperature operate on a very short window. A few minutes of running under extreme low oil pressure or over-temperature conditions can warp cylinder heads, damage bearings, or, in severe cases, destroy the engine entirely. The rapid chime is your last warning before something breaks. Treat it that way. The fourth chime is the most misunderstood in terms of what it is actually asking you to do. This is a single, lower-pitched chime that plays once or twice when you exceed a certain speed, usually around 75 miles per hour depending on your market configuration, or when you have been driving for an extended period without a break. On some Toyota models, particularly those sold in Japan and exported internationally, this alert is connected to the driver monitoring system and can also trigger when the camera detects signs of drowsiness in the driver. In the United States, the speed version of this chime is less common because Toyota deactivated the automatic speed chime on most North American vehicles by default. But the drowsy driving alert is present on any Toyota equipped with the driver attention monitor, which is part of the upgraded Safety Sense package and standard on several higher trim levels of the Camry, Highlander, and RAV4 since 2021. When this chime plays, Toyota is not telling you the car is broken. It is telling you the car is concerned about you. The system measures steering input patterns. When a driver is fatigued, their steering becomes subtly inconsistent, with tiny overcorrections, micro-wanderings, and slight delays in response. The camera and steering sensors detect these patterns and flag them. The chime is accompanied by a small coffee cup icon on the cluster, which many drivers see briefly and dismiss as irrelevant. It is not irrelevant. Drowsy driving kills. The system is not being dramatic. If you hear this chime during a long drive and see that icon, take it seriously. Pull off at the next rest stop, get out of the vehicle, walk around, and if you are genuinely tired, rest before continuing. The fifth chime is the one that causes the most unnecessary repair shop visits. It is almost always caused by something you can fix yourself in under 2 minutes. This is a soft, single chime that plays when you start the vehicle or sometimes while driving, paired with a small orange or yellow wrench icon on the instrument cluster. Drivers see the wrench and hear the chime and immediately assume something mechanical has failed. The service call gets scheduled. Sometimes a diagnostic fee gets charged. Then the technician tells them the car is due for a scheduled maintenance service. That wrench icon and that chime are Toyota's maintenance reminder system. They are not fault codes. They are not malfunctions. They are a calendar. Toyota programs the system to alert you when the car has reached its mileage or time interval for scheduled service, like an oil change, tire rotation, or a multi-point inspection. The chime is the car politely raising its hand and saying, "It is time." But here is the part most drivers and even some shops get wrong. Once the maintenance is performed, the icon and the chime do not reset automatically. The system does not know you changed the oil. It cannot sense fresh fluid. The reset must be performed manually, either by the technician who performed the service or by you using a simple button sequence in the instrument cluster. If no one resets it, the chime continues. The driver assumes something was missed, schedules another appointment, pays another diagnostic fee, and the technician resets a system that should have been reset at the last visit. The reset procedure on most Toyota models involves holding the trip reset button while turning the ignition to the accessory position, waiting for the display to acknowledge, then releasing. The exact steps vary slightly by model year, and I recommend confirming the specific sequence for your vehicle in the owner's manual or through Toyota Owner Resources online. But the principle is universal. The chime does not stop until the system is manually reset, and that reset costs nothing. Now that you know what these 5 chimes mean, I want to leave you with something that goes beyond just memorizing the sounds. Modern Toyotas are not trying to scare you. They are not padding shop visits with unnecessary drama. The alert system exists because Toyota knows that the gap between a small problem and a serious one is almost always just information, specifically whether the driver had it in time. A loose gas cap that causes a subtle evaporative emission leak can trigger a check engine light within 2 drive cycles if ignored. The same gas cap, tightened immediately after the alert, clears the system without a single fault code ever being stored. An oil pressure warning that is responded to in 30 seconds might save an engine that a warning ignored for 3 miles will destroy. A drowsiness alert taken seriously on a rural highway might be the reason a driver arrives home instead of not arriving at all. These are not small stakes. They just come wrapped in small, easy-to-dismiss sounds. The difference between an owner who understands their Toyota and one who does not is not mechanical knowledge, and it is not automotive expertise. It is this. One person hears a chime and knows what the car is trying to say. The other hears a chime and either panics or ignores it entirely. You no longer have to be that second person. You know what these sounds mean. You know when to act immediately, when to schedule service, when to check something yourself, and when to simply reset a system that has already done its job. You know the difference between the car shouting at you and the car making conversation. That knowledge is what separates owners who stay in control of their vehicles from owners who are always at the mercy of the next unexpected bill. And in the long run, it is what keeps a Toyota running the way it was engineered to run, quietly, reliably, and for a very long time. If this changed the way you think about your Toyota's alerts, hit like so more owners see it before they pay for something they did not need. Subscribe for weekly breakdowns that give you the knowledge shops assume you do not have. If you have ever heard one of these chimes and had no idea what it meant until now, drop it in the comments. You are not alone, and the more people who understand this, the fewer unnecessary diagnostic fees get paid on cars that were never broken to begin with.